Welcome to Duncan Thorin Shield's YouTube channel. I managed to con Duncan into convincing his friend to pay me thousands of dollars as a professional Counter-Strike player, so maybe he can convince you that some of his analysis is correct.
This episode of Petty Grievances, how else do you think I keep that crazy intensity and energy going? It's obviously powered by Delicious Gamer Subs. Get 10% off everything on their website with the code Thorin, Thorin. And if you don't want to get hyped up and get energy, you actually want to cool down for the end of the day, have a laugh at this and then go to bed, try the AFK blend, which actually has properties in it that encourage wanting to go to sleep and staying asleep for longer, ideally. Check out the ingredients in it. Okay. So we're going to do some petty grievances. Here's a good one right off the bat. Right, my favourite style of petty grievances is where they're just non sequiturs or the person can't even interpret a real simple sentence. So what happened was, this year, on the 30th of March, HLTV.org intelligently was tracking the win streak of Vitality. So what happens is, this is way back in the 30th of March, by the way, as of the day I'm recording this, the win streak was just snapped at 37 series. But this was actually when they were just doing matches, which included the BO1 against Legacy, so that would have snapped the streak, the other one there. At the time, they were up to 16. And it was very likely they were going to get to Astralis, but at the time you didn't know, would they ever get to 23, which is Team Liquid 2019? And then NIP, as part of the 87-0, had a 60 series / match win streak, bunch of BO1s as well, which obviously is impossible, right? So they're talking already about Vitality's climbing up. So my take was, being as Team Liquid's streak is the second best in the history of the game, NIP's comes at the very beginning of the game, including, by the way, before the first acknowledged proper pro land. They went to a Swedish tournament called Steel Series CSGO and racked up a bunch of wins against players you have never ever heard of. Some of them probably don't even have HLTV pages. That counts as their win, by the way. Because that is the one that's the crazy one. Meanwhile, Team Liquid essentially has the second best streak statistically of all time. And you can argue in terms of level of competition, the best streak of all time, better than any Astralis streak. Astralis, to be fair, look, has 4 streaks during 2018 and 2019, which are all epic, but they're all broken up. They don't get even to 20. Team Liquid got to 23. And if we're doing series, best of 3, best of 5, they got to 22 in a row. Astralis never got close. Never got close, because some of theirs will include blasts and BO1s. Never got close. So Team Liquid, by this, by the way, you can make an argument, had the best period of dominance in the history of CSGO. So I say Team Liquid 2019, criminally underrated. Because if I was to say who are the top 5 teams to ever play a CSGO, everyone would go Astralis, they'd go NIP, they'd probably go, same on here, there's not even on the list, they'd go Fnatic, they'd maybe even go Na'Vi 2021, they'd keep going. They wouldn't go 1 or 2 Team Liquid. So for me, this already shows that Team Liquid, because they didn't win a major, crucially, is underrated. Let's see how a dickhead will both misinterpret what I'm saying, tell me something I didn't say, and just get angry and performatively outraged because he's a moron. So this person goes, calling a team that won the Intel Grand Slam. By the way, already he's failed, because he's a person who doesn't understand how to write in the English language. So do you know what he does with commas? Just use them randomly. Calling a team, comma, that won the Intel. But why would there be a comma there? There's no need for that comma there. Just like your comment's completely unnecessary. It should just be calling a team that won the Intel. What is the comma? It's not even something where you've used it creatively, like I sometimes do my Substack writing, as a way to provide a pause. Calling a team, pause, that won the Intel, that doesn't make sense. The sentence now doesn't make sense. So, okay, we already know you're a cretin. So calling a team that won the Intel Grand Slam / ESL Grand Slam in just 63 days, underrated, is the criminal part of this. Right. So because Team Liquid won the Intel Grand Slam, nothing about what I'm talking about is about Intel Grand Slam, by the way, but because they won the Intel Grand Slam in a record number of days, it's impossible for them to be underrated. That's called a complete non sequitur. What he means, because he's a very, very dense person, is he thinks underrated means nobody thinks they're good at all and they've accomplished nothing, and essentially it means they're bad. That's what he thinks that means. His logic is he thinks they're good because they did this, so they could never have been underrated. Even though, in both what I'm saying here and then the context of this graphic, again, the majority of teams listed here, I mean, by the way, of all the teams listed here, if you don't know, NIP didn't win a major in this period, but this roster won a major. Astralis, the 2018-2019, won a major. Vitality went on to win a major. Luminosity won a major. Na'Vi won a major. Astralis won a major. G2 didn't win a major. FaZe didn't win a major, but this roster did win a major the previous year. Basically, the only teams that didn't win a major here were Team Liquid and G2. Now, if you asked a fan, what about that 22-game winning streak from Liquid? They would take any of these teams that won the major as better than them. So again, I am completely right, both objectively, statistically, contextually, historically, culturally. Everything this person said is wrong. They're just a very stupid person. So here's a good one. Arnold from Gen G, is he CEO of Gen G, the League of Legends team from Korea, says about LOL Esports using stories, and even says, like, basically it's fine to be edgy and all that. He just wants people to stand behind their opinions. So what happened is, on the broadcast, on the screen, not a tweet from a fan. Take that into account. They said on the broadcast, like, an actual topic was Chovy, more like Chalky. 2024 was a one-time thing. Chovy and Gen G will collapse at MSI. By the way, aged terribly. Chovy carried the fuck out of the last game of the tournament, and Gen G were the best team at the tournament. They didn't lose one series, and they smoked every opponent in terms of beat them that they played. So the reason this is mad, and I agree with him, is this isn't a tweet from a fan. This isn't, hey, we're responding. What happened is, you've taken on your broadcast, you've put this, and so that represents the broadcast of Riot. Now, look, in the broadcast, they said things like, now we're going to reply to sort of like community sentiment of like, do they think it was a joke? And they said, but on the screen, if someone doesn't have the comms turned on, the sound, they're going to think this is actually the opinion of the broadcast. So I agree with him. If someone believes that on the broadcast and thinks it's relevant, just have whoever said it. Have that be like, look, I'll make up a name here. Have that be Vidius says Chovy, more like Chalky. Have that be Papa Smithy from FlyQuest. Have it be whoever the fuck you want. Have it be Emily Rand. I don't know that any of these people would do it, but have it be on that's all he says, basically. If you're going to have this up on broadcast, stand on your business. He doesn't even say don't have it on broadcast. Stand on your business, which you have every right to. That's even, by the way, a lot more than you'll ever get from other teams. Teams can tell you, Evil Geniuses complained when Falcons complained in Counter-Strike when people made fun of their squad, even for things they'd actually done. This is actually fairly, he's basically saying, you can say whatever you like, but at least let me know who says that. So what happened was, I replied and I said, I get bored of, now get ready again. Whatever I say, people are going to respond with nothing that's appropriate to what I've said. In fact, they'll show they never understood what I said. I get bored of brands letting some invisible writer chat shit using their platform. So let's just take that into account. My reframe is that I'm bored, like in this case, of brands, so the Riot Games English language broadcast, letting an invisible writer, someone behind the scenes, thought this was a funny title to put on as a card, but we'll never know who it is. They have no accountability. They can say anything they want. They can mock Chovy, they can mock Gen G and say they're going to collapse, and it doesn't matter. They can act like winning MSI once is, it's just a one-time thing. It's no big deal to win MSI once, right? Think how few teams have ever won it twice, by the way. So I'm kind of sick of that. I agree with Arnold. Put your name on it if you want to say that, homie. So I get bored of brands like some visible chat shit using their platform. Now let's see how a moron's brain would interpret what I said. Don't you do the same thing with your anonymous whistleblowers or some shit like with Reckless, right? So when I made my video where I comprehensively, using tried and tested journalistic investigative methods, cross-referenced all the information and got all the information via voice calls with direct witnesses to all of that behaviour, and I made sure there weren't just individual stories where it was only them in the room or that only happened to them. I made sure everything was cross-referenced and had multiple angles independently sourced of each other. When I revealed that, because I didn't tell you who all the exact players were who said the things, because it would invalidate the whole purpose. That's the same as me letting an invisible writer hide behind my brand to chat shit. Chat shit being expose the horribly emotionally manipulative and abusive behaviour of Reckless towards all of his teammates. That's the hill this wants us all to go to and to die upon. Brilliant. So already this is a dunce. But similarly, right below, there's another comment I want to show you. Thorin, these damn liberal snowflakes. Now, I don't ever say that. You'll notice it's a common trend that what happens is people who claim to have read loads of my social media, spoiler, this person has certain flags in their fucking name, always tell me that I say things like sunscreen doesn't causes cancer. Hey, don't take that medical thing, man. Here's my thoughts on the Ukraine-Russia war. Oh, here's what I think about... I never give any of these opinions on my Twitter. It's imaginary. What they're doing is they think that I follow people on Twitter, so I must have the same opinions as them. Therefore, they can just imagine what my opinions are, tell me I say those opinions, and then just give non sequitur nonsense replies, like 2 minutes of hate rants towards me of things I've never said. So, Thorin, these damn liberal snowflakes, again, do I call people liberal snowflakes? I don't, do I? Thorin also hosts multiple hot take shows. Oh, okay. So the context is, I say other people are liberal snowflakes, but I also host hot take shows. Ooh, he's going to imply that was like a hot take. Get ready. Also, Thorin, today, for some reason, no, a fan did a joke hot take about my goat. Now, this person is so fraudulent and stupid. I actually think he thinks, because he's just quickly scanned this, he didn't watch the broadcast, he thinks that is like a fan tweet being brought up. It's not. The fan tweet is on a different section. It looks completely different. It has the name of the person saying it. This is the broadcast itself has chosen this as the topic they are now discussing. There is no fan tweet. So his logic is, it's not only is it a fan tweet, but it's a joke. It's neither, by the way. And it's a hot take. And that, by the way, about my goat, Chovy. Chovy isn't my goat. The goat is faker and the boat is rookie. Maybe the boat will be Chovy soon, but that's a different discussion. So again, every single sentence here is just complete imagined nonsense that never took place in reality and just wasted everyone's time. So what happens is I complain about snowflakes, then I host hot take shows. So Riot uses their English language professional broadcast in his world to host a hot take show for fans. And somehow that means I can't agree with Arnold. I think if you're as a broadcast going to say this, you shouldn't let invisible writers hide behind chat shit. You should just say who said it. Have you noticed how none of their replies ever even actually a reply to my tweet? It's basically just like, hey, Thorin, since you're here, I hate you. So here's what other people say, and here's why that's wrong, even though I'm going to say complete non sequitur. Doesn't even make sense. Right, this post previously said something like, name a bigger downgrade. So I showed Lavrov coming in for Mickey X. So a lunatic goes, you, when the video isn't reckless clickbait, because the reckless clickbait got 300k. It wasn't clickbait, of course. It was like a 2-hour, incredibly well-sourced. It was actually my magnum opus of videos. It was the best video I've ever made. It was unbelievable. So because I then did an interview with someone who doesn't even work in League of Legends anymore, and that didn't get the same viewership, that's a huge downgrade. Right, okay then. I don't get it. I mean, where's the downgrade? Like, you do realise I didn't, like, delete this video and then replace it with these. So how would that be a downgrade? It's just additional videos. If you mean all your videos don't get the same viewership as one of your highest viewed videos ever, well, yeah, I mean, that's just obvious, isn't it? That would be like saying, after your sports show hosts the World Cup final, the next sport match you show won't have the same viewership, so you've downgraded, idiot. Well, no, the World Cup's over, innit? And the World Cup can't happen every week. And the final gets more viewership. Here's a good one, because it's a little update on ye old Frankie Ward. Believe it or not, she decided to comment on some of my shit. This is on the 22nd of June, so let's do a brief addendum to the old Frankie Ward video, the classic before. And you'll see some of the things she says. Luckily, she didn't go too far over that. Look, as usual, she sold some mistruths, so we'll get to that. So she goes, God, I miss Counter-Strike. Must be during the major. And this person just basically just calls her out because he knows some of the things that she did. This moron, because, by the way, we already know they're a moron for later, because they asked Grok if this was true. They actually think Grok is data from Star Trek The Next Generation, and it actually can think and tell you. Basically, that's just a bad Google search. The AI won't find much. There's a video Thorin made about me saying I'm two-faced because I objected to something he said back in 2018. No, that's not at all why, is it, Frankie? This is why you're two-faced, Frankie. The video said you're two-faced because you said publicly that you wouldn't work with companies that deal with Saudi Arabia because everyone needs to educate yourself on people who would kill our gay friends. Then that company, a different company, got bought by Saudi Arabia, their regime, and then you worked with that company, ESL, via ESL Impact, etc. That's why you're two-faced. But notice she doesn't mention that. She pretends it's just, the video of being two-faced is just that she said something on Twitter about me and then worked with me and didn't say the same thing to me in real life. Not really the same thing, not really even on the same stakes, is it? in a speech available on the internet, not behind anyone's back, before I met him. We worked together months later and I was nice to him. I like the idea of being nice to me at an event, never addressing that you've done this thing to me on the internet that I didn't even know about at the time, by the way. Go watch the video. I love the idea that that somehow like makes up for you being a piece of shit on the internet, saying actual like nonsense and disingenuous comments about me. I thought he'd seen it and not cared. But then after we first worked together, he saw it, was public about it, and I then apologised to him in person. Like, that never happened. She never, ever apologised to me in person. This is a complete lie. In fact, if you go back in my other video, I believe in my other video, she claimed she apologised to me over WhatsApp. So which is it? The story keeps changing. And by the way, as long as you have your old phone, you could log into WhatsApp. You'll still have the log and you could just show that. Bizarrely, she's never produced the receipts for that one. She's never apologised for it, by the way. By the way, because she's not apologetic, she just thinks she called me out for what she thinks is fucked up speech, hate speech, and that I shouldn't be allowed to do that. I mean, I showed in the video why she's categorically wrong. I could have made the point about not defending types of language without bringing him into it. Anyway, since then, he's hated me. Yeah, that's why the whole video that was about you being a piece of shit with the Saudis and completely two-faced, and then just basically going, but I want the bag and to have my mortgage paid off. That's just about me irrationally hating you. That doesn't make me two-faced. Well, yeah, because you just ignored the part that made you two-faced. And I'm not an antagonist, but I think people will take one person's word, and it's just one, as far as I'm aware, over mine. It isn't, by the way. Loads of people who've worked with her came to me privately, like, I love that fucking video, mate. She was doing my head in. She needed to be called out for her bullshit. So there's not much point in me saying anything. Yet you are doing that, of course, to a complete random dickhead who's asking Grok, I notice. So because you knew Grok wouldn't tell him your nonsense version of the story, you're going out of your way to tell him one-on-one, like a personal free service. You're essentially a shit fucking esports version of Grok for him. That's what you're doing right now. I stopped doing CS because I had 2 kids and couldn't spend time away. That's also not true. She even wrote something on her website where she also complained about not being hired to the big events and only being hired to ESL Impact. She's, again, just a disingenuous liar. And because I had to go on beta blockers and have therapy because I got so much abuse, like the comment you replied to, right? So because of my video, she got abuse like this tweet. And that made her have to go on beta blockers and get therapy. Well, since you lied about me and what I'd said and what I say is acceptable, implied that I hate a cross-section of people that work in our industry and that behaviour means I don't belong in the industry, logically, I might be on beta blockers and maybe I've had to have therapy, right? So you must be apologising to me. Oh, you don't give a fuck about me. Well, as usual. But anyway, this isn't even about her, by the way. I thought I'd just update you on the story because the dickhead who had to ask Grok, so he knows nothing. Remember, the fact he had to ask Grok means he doesn't know about this case. Goes, thanks for the detailed reply. I didn't know the full story. Just wanted to understand what actually happened. Sorry you had to go through all that. No one deserves that kind of abuse. Thorin is the biggest piece of shit there is. He lies for no reason. Now notice, Frankie herself didn't say I'd lied anywhere. And he doesn't know the story. He's asking Grok. But no, I'm the biggest piece of shit there is. I lie for no reason. I haven't told a lie. So, but you should come back. Well, logically, she says she isn't going to come back because she has kids and time away. But you know that that's not why. That's why you're saying she should come back. But it's actually because ESL doesn't hire you fucking dunce. Thanks. And thanks for hearing me out. I appreciate it. By the way, she doesn't like abuse like this. This made her have to go on beta blockers and get therapy. But if someone says I'm just the biggest piece of shit there is and I lie for no reason, and you know that person knows nothing about the case, you go, thanks. And thanks for hearing me out. And I'm going to go ahead and guess, even without the ability to check likes, you gave him a little like, didn't you? You pressed a little imaginary heart icon, you fucking loser. Right, so last year at MSI, I said Maple's teams internationally are something else. Guy has so many upsets over the world's best teams. Where is your Knights Azir play call out? Fucking hypocrite. Right, really stupid people really believe that you're a hypocrite if when you give an opinion about players you like or don't like, you don't then comment uniformly about every other player in the scene. So to ever call out anyone's Azir play, I have to mention every time Knight does a bad Azir play because I like Knight. Why do I have to do that? In fact, I'd call that an absurd expectation. It's like people say, how can you do a video about Cadril? Where's your video about everyone else in the scene? Right, so to take down the biggest drug dealer in this analogy, I have to also arrest every single kid selling dime bags on the corner. Otherwise, I'm not allowed to do it. It's just a nonsense claim. How about these people do something? Oh no, you're just tweeting at me. My bad. Same dickhead. When T1 lost, I put ha 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 PC Player of the Year when they lost in LCK. Old man being toxic over a video game played by kids. Right, guys, he's already trying to do an angle there that is beyond disingenuous. So he's trying to pretend that what I'm doing is being toxic about some kids playing a video game, right? This is in April of 2024. Watch this. So April of 2024, Faker would be what? 27 years old. But I'm being toxic about a video, because kids play the video game. Me mocking Faker, PC Player of the Year, getting beaten, is basically just mocking, I'm just mocking kids. 27-year-old man, of course. Professional in the game for 10 years at that time. Millionaire from the game, multiple-time world champion. What a life you must have. Oh, by the way, these people always have the most pathetic, ankle-biting, knuckle-dragging, basement-dwelling, giga, incel, loser lifestyle you could ever imagine. But they all imagine they sit above me in the VIP area with demad bitches and crazy stacks and bands of money, and that they're calling out my shit lifestyle. By the way, I make six figures every year of my career for the entire time Faker's been a player pretty much in League of Legends. What a life you must have to actually enjoy being toxic against kids who actually made it in a life. Congrats. Same guy, by the way, earlier, who was like, where's your Azir night play? Then the person goes, Faker is 27, how is he a kid? He said T1, dumb fucks. I said T1 lose. A 41-year-old flaming kids under 22. Okay, mate. Whatever you say. When Esports Awards was announced with this panel of people, I said, don't ever comment on Nick Merckx or Semler again if you're in this graphic. Right, so if you don't know, Nick Merckx made a comment where he said something, it was implied about gay people, like leave our kids alone, because he doesn't want like grooming to take place in the gay community in America. And he got his skins taken out of Call of Duty, I believe, as a result. Semler obviously made a bunch of comments about the framing and marketing of the ESL Impact League, and then about who's eligible to play in it. So I said, don't ever comment on those two people again if you're in this graphic, because the logic is, if you think Nick Merckx is some terrible anti-gay figure and Semler's said some horrible things about women, well, how the fuck could you then go and work with the Saudis in any context? Because Esports Award had partnered with EWC, as you can see down there. So if you work with the Saudis, who are much worse on both fronts, just don't comment on those people. And I put, if you're in this graphic, I said, you sold that, right? Have some dignity. Get ready for a stupid ankle biter to say something that I didn't say and think they've got me on something they haven't got me on. But Thorin, isn't Dagon your boy? Does that go for him too? Yes. I mean, I've just said, if you're in this graphic, don't ever comment on those two things. Now, did Dagon comment on Nick Merckx? Did Dagon comment on Semler? If he did, why are you not telling me that he did? Or you don't know, you're just ankle biting. That's it. Even though I've been very clear, I didn't say, hey, fucking pocket, don't comment. By the way, I even like OJ Borg, he's a friend of mine. But no, even when I make it explicit, hey, everyone in this graphic, don't comment on it. What, you mean like Dagon? Well, yeah, he's right there in the graphic. So yeah, that's covered. You cretin. It was a simple question. Does it go for Dagon too? Since they both work for LFN, what's the relevance? I just said there, yeah, I'm so ballsy. I included someone who works for my company in this statement. But you're just, imagine it. But what about that guy? But what about this? What about, I've said this before, so I'll say it again. You can't spell whataboutism without tism. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And I doubt they not at least cordial or cool with each other. I don't appear on any shows with Dagon, by the way. I just hope he stands on it when he speaks about it on LFN. Now, listen, dunce. I don't know what standing on business, retarded shit you think I'm talking about, but you're just a dickhead, ankle-biting moron. And again, has Dagon virtue signalled about those people? Or are you just a fucking idiot? Oh, hey, is someone justifiably calling out people who on record have said hypocritical shit? Well, what about someone else if they had have done it, even if they haven't? And I don't know if they have, but what if they had? But what if? Basically, all they mean by the what if is stop talking about the thing you're talking about now. I like some of those people. And hey, don't you like someone who's in that graphic? So let's just talk about the person you like and not about the person I like. Get your own Twitter and talk about whatever you want, dick face. I'm talking about what I want, fuckhead. There's a good one. When I had my preview that my Reckless video was coming out. This person goes, aren't you the sexist I am esports guy? This person goes, literally, multiple women have responded to this, saying their only interaction with Thorin over years in the space has him being creepy and sexist to them. Lol, what a hypocrite. Right, one, what would that have to do with how Reckless treated his teammates? And then two, that's a literal lie. One woman responded to this post and claimed her only interaction with me was me being sexist to her. I looked up, I've never DM'd her, I've never had her on a single talk show. As far as I know, that's a literal lie, I've never interacted with her in any context. I even heard behind the scenes she might have been, let's just say, in a past relationship with someone in the pro scene that would make her have a conflict of interest in this topic, but I don't know her, and it's a complete lie, and there weren't multiple women. He's just a mentally ill person. And apparently I've been creepy and sexist to them. Again, never a receipt. Where do I have? This guy's got receipts, I've got receipts, no receipts. The people calling me out never got a receipt. Weird how that works, isn't it? When Carrigan lost the Shanghai Major, this was a screenshot of what happened. And yeah, you know what? What can you say but fuck? Because if you don't know, not only did he almost win the Major out of nowhere, but his brother had died a few months earlier, I believe, and he was going to dedicate it to him, I think. It's a bit like that famous story, if you don't know, that makes it even more tragic that Ayrton Senna died in that race. Because since that Austrian driver had died during the warm-up or whatever, they found later in Ayrton Senna's car a flag of Austria or whatever that he was going to, at the end of the race, himself fly as a tribute to that guy, but then he died in the race as well. So this moron, I mean, do we even need to see more than that fucking bio? So this moron goes, I think it's not cool to publish a crying person. Right. So this went on the broadcast to millions of people, you fucking dunce. So are you talking to me about me posting a screenshot? By the way, I would even count him as an acquaintance or a friend. I even know him in a way you don't. Well, like, it's his grief. Don't touch him. He failed. It happens to everyone. So you're now parasocially telling me not to say things about people I know or are my friends and I know better than you, using screenshots that have already been distributed to millions of people online. I think you're just a fucking dickhead who wastes everyone's time, aren't you? Thanks for trying to actually fucking morality police me and take a higher ground than me and condescend to me. 99.9% of people will never even make it to the final of a major. What is the relevance of any of this? What's the relevance of any? By the way, I don't give a flying fuck what anyone whose age has a 1 at the beginning. I don't care. Your opinion is irrelevant to me. You know nothing about this game or life. Here's a good one. You know that meme of the horse? Well, that woman, Erin whatever, who's in The Boys, she started off girl next door, very pretty, could be the prom queen, couldn't she? Then she was still all right during the middle part, and then she just fucked her face up, I think, with that buccal fat removal. So it's like this meme, isn't it? It gets worse at the end till the kid's drawing. I say, it's legitimately jarring to see her in any scene now. Her face is so fucked up. Let's see how a mentally ill person will misinterpret that. She never got bullied for her looks before, you liar, lol. I never said anything about her being bullied for her looks, so what would the relevance be of that? She never got bullied for her looks before, you liar. Right, I've lied and said she's been bullied for her looks in that sentence, by the way. If she was, no, you've already said it didn't happen, so I've said it happened and I lied, and it didn't happen, but if it had have happened, it was a minority do, right? So we've already, within 2 sentences, it didn't happen, and if it did happen, which apparently it did, it was just a minority. And I've addressed none of that, by the way, so what really would the relevance be? When I did my response to a video of a talk show I did, getting twice as many views and becoming the second highest CS video on the LFN CS Go channel, where essentially viewership doubled with a totally normal guest because people thought I was wanking while recording the episode. It was a massive live stream fails thread that had thousands of points, 300 comments, and it got 40 to 50k extra views. This person, because I then addressed that I obviously wasn't and proved I was actually just watching it, he's going to now pretend no one was making a big deal out of it. I'm the one blowing it up to nothing, and that actually it was just nothing that was even mattered. So you got to admit, Thorin makes something out of nothing, right? It got double the viewership and it got 90,000 views because of this instead of 30 or 40. But again, 40 to 50,000 people watching that. 27 people saw his tweet, by the way. I'm the one, because I'm addressing 50,000 extra views and a massive live stream fails and everyone laughing at me on the internet saying I've definitely been caught masturbating. Not even that I was caught watching porn, I was caught masturbating. That's nothing. And him with his 27 view shitter tweet and purchased fucking checkmark because he's a nobody, formerly HLTV. No, I'm the one making something out of nothing, not his tweet making something out of nothing and saying absolute nonsense. He makes something out of nothing better than the community can, because this hour-long video, which I'm not watching in full, so then you don't know what the video's about, and surely isn't about the topic for 60 minutes. It is. It is. But bro could have just tweeted something. Well, you did a dog shit tweet that got 27 views, mate. And that would have been the end of this whole story, right? So if I'd have done a tweet, that live stream Phil's thread wouldn't exist and 40 to 50,000 people wouldn't have seen that video and thought that I did it. ASMR played on Snake and Banter. Cool, who gives a shit? I just said thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. ASMR's great. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, no one cares about your opinion about ASMR either, moron. But you better believe Thorin's going to get his content, says a guy obsessively posting about me to 27 people. He's going to get his Skrilla when the community foolishly thinks they got him on something, and deservedly so. Your entire life was making something out of nothing and not much. Last one. If you think the Saudi esports shit, this is last year, is going anywhere, consider that Alexi B in one LAN when they won EWC just won $100,000 more than Pronax won for winning 3 CSGO majors. I'm sorry, I don't get the tweet, says a person with a German-sounding name. Get ready for how they can't interpret simple English. This just illustrates the huge financial incentive for players to participate. How does that mean that Saudi sports washing won't go anywhere? Oh, God. Oh, God. Right, because he's fucking German and doesn't speak English, my language, my native language that I'm an expert in, he thinks the phrase that if you think Saudi esports shit is going anywhere, like in English, what that colloquially means is it's not going anywhere. Like it's going to be here for a long time. It's not going to go away. He thinks that means it's not going to actually be relevant in esports and it is going to go away. But again, that's my problem that he can't read. I don't forget the people that support me. And in the case of this video, that would be Matt Pugnatio Rajcula, Jasun, Jensen Goh, Nicky, Tosh, Toucan, and you know who I'm always going to give the biggest shout out to, my boy Jerky's Minion. Do you want to ask a question for my video AMA? Do you want to suggest a topic or a guest for my content? Maybe you want to find out who the next guest is on one of my interviews that I've already recorded but not yet released. Or maybe you want to take part in one of those fabled long-form discussions where you get to decide the topics. Well, if any of those perks or others tickle your fancy, simply click on the Patreon link in the description box below and put your money where your mouth is and join the Skrilluminati today.